DVD in a residence nearby or in their own homes, and to those who may be watching via the internet, we do offer you all a hearty welcome and trust that whether here in person or here virtually, you will sense a spirit of community and faith and compassion as we join together in worship. I would invite you to please stand as we join in our invitation to worship. The Holy One is full of surprises.
God's love is poured upon us like water on a parched and wilting land.
The Spirit can lead us in new directions.
God's love can strengthen and renew us every day.
Yes, the Holy One is full of surprises. Let's look for some today. Our opening hymn, Draw the Circle Wide. You may be seated. Let us unite our hearts together in a spirit of prayer. Let us pray. O Spirit of love and life, we trust that you are always with us and among us, and we rejoice in your presence among us today. Yet in our rejoicing, we also admit that there are times when we forget and even ignore your love. We have also not always appreciated that you love others just as you love us. We have perpetuated our differences and prejudices rather than working together as your loving family. As Jesus taught us, we often pray for your forgiveness and the strength to forgive others, and yes, even to forgive ourselves. Help us to narrow the gap between the way we live and the way you call us to live, as we follow in the way of love Jesus shows us. Amen. Can you believe it? Can you really, really believe that you are loved, that you are forgiven, that you are embraced in the care of God and others around you? May that knowledge free you and enable you to live abundantly as Jesus has asked that we live. Thanks be to God. Amen. I would like to draw your attention to the announcements which remind us of the life and ministry of our church. You'll find them on the insert leaflet of your bulletin. They're also found on our website. We do welcome all of you and hope that you will be able to stay following the service for our brunch downstairs. A number of young people and adults are down there preparing it as we speak, and we do hope that you'll be able to come and enjoy that fellowship and nourishment as we share together in that meal. We will be sharing in the meal of communion, and then we can continue that meal as we share brunch together. Our sparks today, and for those who may be new, every Sunday morning we have a number of things in which you can participate. You can stay in worship and enjoy the spark that happens here, or there are other activities happening. Some will be preparing brunch in the kitchen. In the upper room, which is just down the hall, Rick Gorley happens to be my cousin. He's going to be helping make Easter eggs in preparation for Easter. Absolutely Easter eggs. That wasn't even a plan. In the preschool spark room downstairs, Mackenzie Weiss will be doing a story time with the children. You might as well wait.
Competing against Easter eggs?
Competing against it. Well, it's a bit of both. And Ruth will be in the comfort corner for a time of meditation, which is also downstairs below the hall. So feel free to participate in whatever spark activity you feel would be meaningful for you today. We also want to remind you of upcoming activities in our church, which again you'll find in the leaflet. Youth group is Monday night. The UCW Happy Lunchers are meeting on Tuesday, and all the women of the church are welcome. On Tuesday afternoon and evening, we are continuing our Lenten space, a place to be, a place to seek and find peace in the upper room, just a quiet time with music and imagery and other activities for you to have a place of peace in your life. On Wednesday, soul time at 6 p.m. will be meditation, followed by a Theo Ed talk, which I will be leading. And if you get a chance, you can go online and hear Reverend Nadia Bowles-Weber speak about the dangerous power of forgiveness. If you haven't heard her speak, she's a young Episcopalian minister in the United States. She's all tattooed and ear-ringed and everything, and she tells it like it is. Very few filters, but very powerful speaker. Thursday evening is choir and jam session. And then you will see in the coming weeks, next Sunday is Palm Sunday. And then following that, the Maundy Thursday potluck supper and service at St. Andrew's Presbyterian, starting at 5:30. On Good Friday at 9:30 a.m., we start our Palm Sunday procession this year, starting from here, going to the Anglican Church and ending at the Presbyterian Church. And on Easter Sunday, shorter than usual, Easter service with communion at 8:30. And a multi-generational service at 10, in which many of our youth will be offering monologues about the last words of Christ and some of the people who encountered Jesus before Easter and what they might have had to say after the death and resurrection. You'll also find the insert of Games Night. We had over 50 people out to the potluck supper last time we had Games Night, and so we do hope you'll come. We do have an announcement of sadness to inform you of the recent death of Myron Mills, who had been an active member of our congregation. I've often said Myron was the only person in our church that knew my father, because Myron was a veterinarian in my hometown. He went to high school with my cousin's father, my uncle. So I always had a very special place in my heart for Myron, and it is sad that we announce his passing. And we also announce a service that will be held in his memory at Bridlewood Trails residence, where his wife Jackie resides. And in order for her not to have to make the effort to get out, the service will be there this coming Saturday at 2 p.m. Now, because of space at Bridlewood, I just wanted to check and see those who knew Myron, how many from here might be trying to go to that service in memory of Myron. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So probably about a dozen or so. So I will let them know. Thank you very much, and we continue to hold Jackie and the Mills family in our hearts. Finance ministry team meets tomorrow evening. A fuller announcement about the Maundy Thursday service. The Imagination Station Daycare is downstairs for the next week at least as they repair their building that was damaged by water. If any of you saw that cage outside on this side, I mentioned to somebody that we're going to build a tunnel from the church to the cemetery. No, they have to have an outdoor play space in that, so you can play there after church if you'd like. The new photo directories are available, and they're at the back. They look great, thanks to everyone who was involved in that. You will see the fact that today we also are starting our modified sealed bid auction fundraiser downstairs. A couple of the numbers in the bulletin don't quite match up with downstairs, but you'll see the items. They're also running on the screen as you have brunch. And you just fill out one of the pages, put it in the box, and hope that you get the highest bid. Each week we announce the highest bid from the previous week to give you an idea of how much you might need to get the item of your choice. You'll also see the financial ministry team update. So please do take note of all of the announcements which remind us of the life and ministry of our church and allow you to share your gifts and receive the gifts and blessings that others offer as well. At this time, we're going to watch a video of the Gospel Bible reading for today, and then we'll talk a little bit about that video. This is a story about a woman who came and anointed Jesus' feet with perfume.
Six days before the Passover, Jesus went to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, the man he had raised from death. They prepared a dinner for him there, which Martha helped serve.
Lazarus was one of those who were sitting at the table with Jesus.
Then Mary took a whole pint of a very expensive perfume made of pure nard, poured it on Jesus' feet, and wiped them with her hair. The sweet smell of the perfume filled the whole house. One of Jesus' disciples, Judas Iscariot, the one who was going to betray him, said,
"Why wasn't this perfume sold for 300 silver coins? And the money given to the poor."
He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He carried the money bag and would help himself from it.
Leave her alone. Let her keep what she has for the day of my burial. You will always have poor people with you, but you will not always have me.
So I would like to invite anyone who'd like to come and join me in the front. Good morning. Grace and Arian, I'm just going to slip it in this end if I can. Thank you. Oh, good. Good to have a little stuffy toy. That's how the toys in the pews got started. Years ago, we bought one bunny, and then two, and then the rest showed up. Exactly. That's for another day. Ask your parents when you get home. So in that video that we watched, what did you see the woman do? Do you remember seeing the woman do something with Jesus? Yeah? Anybody? What did you see her do?
Yeah. Yeah. Put perfume.
Put perfume on his feet and then wipe them. Yes, absolutely. Now, you don't have to answer this question, but you can if you want. How often do you wash your feet? Do you wash them once a day?
Yeah.
Once, maybe
Whenever
twice?
she takes a shower.
Twice a week? Twice a week? 3 times? 4 times a week, maybe? Once a month? Well, in that story, in the time of Jesus, people didn't have shoes the way we do. They had sandals. And their feet were often very dusty and dirty. And so it felt really nice to have your feet washed. And it felt even nicer if somebody put oil on your feet. When we were in Israel, and we had a person from Israel who was leading our tour, and he wore sandals all the time, and his feet had these huge cracks in them. Ruth always wanted to get at them because he didn't put oil on his feet, and they would get dry and dusty. So this woman did something really nice for Jesus, and it made him feel good, but also the perfume made everything smell good. So everybody knew what she had done. And so I think that's the way it is whenever we do something for someone and help them, it can stay with them. And other people can see it, and other people might try and do the same kind of thing and love other people too. So what that woman did was something very, very special. And actually, up at the front, I don't know if you ever noticed, but the 2 windows at the front have Jesus and then 2 women, Mary and Martha, who were the 2 women in the story today. And it reminds us that there are many ways in which we can serve and help each other. Martha was preparing the meal, and Mary poured perfume on Jesus' feet. They were both helping and sharing their love, and that reminds us that we too can have many ways that we share our love with each other, and that they can feel better once we do. So it's a great story to remind us of the power of love. Now, I'm not suggesting that you all go home and wash the feet of everybody in your family. As fun as that might sound. But we can wash each other's feet in a different way by sharing our love and by showing our love. So let's say a prayer, and then those who wish can go out to one of the other Spark activities or stay here in the sanctuary. So let's pray. Dear God, we thank you.
We thank you
for the ways you love us,
for the ways you love us,
and the ways we can love each other.
and the ways we can love each other.
Help us to share your love.
Help us to share your love,
So that other people will feel refreshed and be able to know they are loved. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for coming up, and now you can head out to your Spark time if you